Well, I thought I'd take a little break here and do a bit of an update on this. I know this may not be of interest to very many people. Maybe I should start with a disclaimer. I do not in any way pretend to be a carpenter. I'm most certainly not a finished carpenter. I don't even like working with wood all that much. My medium of choice is, of course, metal. I'd much rather be out here pounding on a piece of metal, beating it into submission with a big hammer than I would any kind of carpentry work or working with wood at all. But this is a commissioned piece. Actually, I'm doing a trade with a guy, and he wanted a rustic little Stagecoach, and he said he'd like to have the doors so they would open so his grandkids could play in it. And I said, well, it was really cute. I said, well, how old are your grandkids? And he goes, well, they're not born yet. But so I thought it was pretty cute. This guy's so excited about having grandkids that he's already getting together, you know, pictured in his mind toys for them to play on in his yard. And he said this one is on the way, is 3 months old. It's got 6 more months before it's born, but he's counting it as 3 months old. So I'm doing a trade with him. Actually, I got those carts from the Chelan mine. I found a little more history on those, the story behind those. They are from the mine. They're not ore carts. They didn't run on a rail, but they were used for some kind of tailings of some sort. And I got 3 of those, and then he has some other stuff that I'm going to be doing a trade. This is the trade for that, and I'll show you what all that stuff is later on. But just to give you an idea, like I said, I'm not a carpenter. I don't know anything about carpentry work, so this is a little embarrassing for my friend George to see this, and I know Bruce is pretty handy with his remodel he's done on that huge house, and so you guys just overlook me, you know, and maybe don't even watch this. But I printed out some of these just for ideas, just to have a picture in my mind, because it's not my goal or my intention to replicate any of these in any way. I don't want to do that. I just wanted to have a general idea in my mind about what kind of what I was going for. So these two are the real thing. This and is a real Stagecoach. It's a real old. It says U.S. mail on it. Now this is the real thing. A picture of a real Stagecoach. These are models, and that's just, of course, a drawing, and then that's a scale model. I don't know what scale. I don't know what the size is of it, but. As you can see, they have a rail, a little metal rail up around the top for kind of a luggage rack, and sometimes on the seat there's a bit of a rail. On this one, this is a model. This one has the luggage rail on it, and of course I'll build the storage area on the back. They all have that, so I'll build that. This one's just a very plain one, just a flat platform with a couple of supports. That's all. I'll do a little bit more than that. Don't know exactly what yet, but I don't want you guys to freak out. You're going to hear me use the word paint a couple times in this video. I need to call the guy because he's furnishing all the materials for this. He gave me all the plywood and all the wood for it, and some metal. And I need to call him and see if he has any old house paint sitting around, anything that I can use for primer on this. I'm going to paint it up, and it'll be, I'm thinking kind of a dull red, maybe kind of a barn red, not anything flashy red, but a duller kind of red, and then a light color, maybe a yellow undercarriage, but probably a little more subdued than that, maybe something a little more like that. And then I think I would like to do some stenciling on it with some gold paint, maybe some fleur-de-lis design, or just some of these leaf stencils, and do a little bit of gold paint and maybe some gold in the spokes. I'm going to have to build some wheels, and he said just anything rustic, nothing fancy, whatever I can just make to work out of what we have to build it with, and I don't have wheels for it. So he gave me a bunch of these little kind of 2x2s, I guess, probably 1.5 by 1.5. So and I can make some spokes out of those, and I've got some metal that maybe I can roll. I don't know. I'll get into that later on, but I just thought I would kind of give you an idea of where this thing is going and where it is now. So having taken a look at this, and you can see the rails, and another thing that they all have the seat up here on the front, and the little footboard. It seems like they all have that. So I wanted to do that. He wanted the doors to open, so they do. They're hinged, and then they all have these little roll-up covers for the windows that are either rolled up and strapped up with little buckles and a strap, which I have a whole box full of buckles, and I can make straps out of something if we decide to do that. And this one has a light, a lantern. This one is the real thing. It has a lantern. This one has a different style of lantern. This one has a lantern, and as I said, they have the roll-up covers over the window. I would also like to stencil on and paint letters on there that says, maybe that says Overland Stage Company or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Well, they say, a lot of them say Wells Fargo and Company, but I just like the word Overland a little better than Wells Fargo. Okay, so I've done a lot of trim work on it. I was really dreading this project, kind of, but now that I got into it, I'm kind of having fun with it, especially with trimming it out. I just think that adds a lot when you put all that trim on there. And then we talked about the rail, and the seat has one, and I've done this up for a rail. I'll probably paint this a flat black, and here's the little footrest I talked about, and the seat. And then for the top rail, I don't know where I got these, but I picked these up somewhere in my travels, and this was out in my supply yard. I have several of these. They're probably out of a, I don't know, they look like, somebody may know exactly what they are, but they look like they might have come out of a grocery store, maybe a produce rack of some kind. Who knows? I have no idea. But I'm going to put you guys on the tripod here and show you kind of that's going to work out pretty good, I think. Those little rails. So I have. Let me see if you can see the top of that. Yeah. So this will go kind of up here. And for the little luggage rack, and this is about right. And I may shorten one down and put it across the back, and another one across the front. And then I've got the one on the seat that I showed you that I cut this off, and I added another post here, drilled that, put it down in there, and that's how I got that mounted on the seat. I just cut these off. I made that one a little shorter, so that's the idea on that. Then I have these old placemats that a fella sent me something in the mail one time, and he filled the box with this spray foam insulation that was still in liquid form. When I got it, it didn't dry. So when I opened it up, it spilled all over my placemat and never did come out. So one side of this is, anyway, I replaced them, but I hung on to them. I'm glad I did, because this is perfect. One side of this is vinyl, one side is canvas. So if you roll that up, and then tie those up with an old leather shoestring, you know, I think that's going to be about right. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I think that's in frame. So yeah, I think that's going to look good. I like that. I like that idea. So I only have 4 of them, so there probably won't be any on the doors, but I can cover all the windows with one of these. And as I talked about, I had lanterns, and I have a couple of these. I'll take the bulbs out, of course, and then maybe mount these up here on the front somewhere. I think that looks pretty good. And the undercarriage I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. Just kind of a basic platform, probably 2 rudders that go underneath, and 2 axles and 4 wheels, and maybe maybe a single tree in front or something. I don't know. I'll figure that out when I get to it. But okay, that's it. Little update. See ya. Bye.